Thank you, Yasser. We are with Sam Shankland after a very tense game against Hans Niemann. Sam, in the opening, it felt like you dropped a theoretical bomb with this move, queen to c1. Tell us a bit about that.
It certainly doesn't bust the Nimzo. I'd prepared this and for like several games, including one with Cristian and one with Narayan, and I just never got to use it. But I think that black is certainly fine, but it's not that easy to play his position. Like, for example, probably the most accurate is to play h6 first, bishop h4, and only now bishop b7, so that I don't have h4, but like this is tough, and then it's sort of, and it's also a little scary to play h6 when you know that I could, in theory, play h4 in response, but there's probably other ways to equalize, but here, like...
And we were looking at trying to understand the differences with this move c5 and e4. Now you take, and there's no more g5.
Okay, bishop f1, king f1. I believe e5 is the only move, which is very tough to find, I think. And even then, I can still play. But no, I mean, there's a variation with queen c2 instead of queen c1. And this one, black is definitely supposed to play h6, bishop h4, and then knight bd7. And now e4 comes and queen c8. And basically, the point is here, black is fine, because after bishop a6, queen a6, queen c6, already we're trying to screw this up with white, queen d3. The big point is that now after e5, because he's managed to flick in h6 and bishop h4, knight d5 comes and I cannot take his knight, I'll be mated, and now I'm in trouble. Queen knight f4 and I'm mated. So, so basically the whole point with queen c1 is to try to discourage h6, so if black plays knight bd7, I can just play the same line, honestly, like, yeah, so if he plays knight h6, now after knight bd7, this is the point, is that now with the queen c1, now I get g4.
g4.
And now this gets very, I mean, even here I think black is probably fine, but good luck. Yeah, I mean, the way he played it, no, I mean, bishop b7 is probably basically fine the way he played h4, and now knight c6. I mean, I didn't have this move. It looks really bad.
And it does seem like it's slight mistake, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I know there was... He can take the pawn with bishop f3 and queen d4, but it's very scary. c5, I think, sort of equalizes after dc, knight d7, c6, rook c8, knight d4, knight e5, but still queen f4, I go rook d... Like, there's some line here, rook c8, knight d4, knight e5, queen f4. And computer calls this equal after knight c6, this much I knew, but okay, take, rook d1, I swing rook h3 around. At some point the bishops matter. I don't know.
It's a long game.
Yeah, well, I thought he would take with the rook, but whatever. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. But the way he played with knight c6 looked very suspicious to me, and I thought I should just be better, but I was struggling a little bit to find the way. I was very surprised by knight d5, actually, as well.
And I think the computer was saying h5.
Yeah, that's not the dumbest move, but...
just because after h6 you can take on h6.
Yeah, this I saw. But if he takes on f4, I somehow didn't love my pawn on h5 now, and yeah, so h6, and it's not so easy for me to coordinate. I thought black's probably more.
You're not on time to take. Probably you're giving up too much.
That's way too much. Rook a8 and knight a5. So I don't know. I mean, I thought rook c1 felt natural enough, and the real question was if I could do something better than what I did. I don't know. I mean,
so I think you got. Everything was
supposed
good.
To take f6?
Yeah. Taking on f6 was the right move.
Yeah,
bishop to e3, you can play that as well.
About it, but knight g4 and f5, and thought this was coming, and I wasn't so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was better here. I wasn't sure how much, but yeah. So take knight d2, and I was absolutely shocked by d5. I thought this totally underestimated the danger of the structure. I mean, I think. He's worse if he doesn't play this, but probably not that much worse and should hold. But here I actually thought I had very good winning chances, and I really came very close to winning at the end, I think. If we go forward. Yeah, I didn't know about playing b4, b5. I was worried that he will go bishop a4 and then knight c6. And once he does that, then he's got a5 coming with actual counterplay, which I didn't like. So I thought I should play b5. I understood this sort of shuts down the queen side. But the problem was I just... couldn't quite break through. There was the critical one, I think, was right on move 40. Yeah, so here I thought he's just in huge trouble. Okay, so yeah, fe5, I don't know, maybe this is just a draw, but so here, take, sure. And I was expecting a6 after bishop c2, actually. I thought
which was probably a good move, yeah.
But,
a6 or a5?
Yeah, well, I thought a6, just to be very forcing. Okay, ba6, and then apparently it's just fine for black.
I think one of the lines was...
Yeah, bishop takes b5, and then knight d7, yeah. And
knight d7 and knight b3 to try to go for the e6 pawn. but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Knight
So.
takes,
Yeah, but the way I thought it came very close to winning. So after I got knight b1, bishop g8, a5. I think bishop f7 was only move, right? Because if he plays bishop h7, I believe it's lost. I go take, take, and then knight d2 or a6.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one was winning. I was really hoping for that, but he made the right decision to come back to f7, and then a6. Yeah, and so here, knight a3 was good. So now I'm just curious if I can win this position after bishop d7, because my understanding here is if I can put my knight on d4, I believe white wins.
Okay.
Then I give him the king. I'm threatening knight c6, and I'm threatening king f4 and g5, and he cannot stop both of them. And the problem is that his knight is terrible on c5. But I was sort of thinking here, I don't actually see how I can get my knight to e4 was the problem, without letting his knight get free.
So let's see this computerish move, bishop to g6.
Yeah, but the problem is I need to defend the b5 pawn to get my knight to d4, and I didn't see how to do this. So
you try to put the bishop on this diagonal?
Yeah, I think if he doesn't play knight e4, he probably loses, actually. Like, I mean, well, okay, let's say, like, I don't know, if he goes bishop e8, if he just wastes time, bishop e2, bishop d7. I suspect I should win this if my knight gets to e4, but yeah, so like, say we go now king e3. I think waiting will, I mean, I guess he can always just go knight e4, but if he just, yeah, that move just saves him.
One more
knight
move.
c2, and then king wherever, f7. Knight d4, and then, yeah, once I got the knight to d4, it's winning. So I guess, but he has knight e4 in time. So I also could have tried knight c3 on move 39 instead of knight a3, with the point that now it's easier to go bishop d1, d2. But the problem is here, after something like king f8, and then bishop d1, I think he can still play knight e4 here, was the issue. I think this is still just a draw. Take, take, and king on g7, and I don't believe I will win.
Yep.
Which was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I came very close, but I guess with a couple, I just couldn't quite get the coordination in time at the end.
He played very accurately. Now, one thing that you always feel very proud about is your physical prowess and the fact that you're working out and the fact that you can maintain energy levels throughout the long event. This is a very long event.
Yeah.
Do you feel that helps you?
Well, I guess we'll see in rounds 11, 12, and 13. I can't remember ever losing the last round of a U.S. championship. I don't believe I've ever lost the final round. But no, I mean, fitness is not wildly relevant until you've started to play 7, 8, 9 games. But I certainly hope it'll help.
Guys, any extra questions?
Just on that note, Sam, fitness, what do you do? Tennis, basketball,
No, I'm too uncoordinated for sports. All of my teammates would hate me. No, I do a lot of weights. I do calisthenics. I have a Peloton I like to ride. Do a lot of weighted pull-ups, weighted push-ups, and try to also just I live in a very walkable area, and so just walking to everything, grocery store, restaurants, you just average 4 miles a day just by choosing to walk, even if you're not trying to explicitly exercise. It burns a lot of calories, keeps you fit. I mean, I'm not the biggest health, nutrition, fitness guru there's ever been, but I do things that work for me, and well, I think it's helped so far.
Fair enough. Good luck in the tournament, Sam.